You voted
No,
against
I
him, man.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
to be honest, the Calaris went first. I would have gone Reynor because I really think this is super close, right? But yeah, given the Calaris was still to go, I thought, I mean, yeah, if it's gonna be a 2-1 advantage, perhaps it's deserving for it to be this man's the greatest StarCraft player of all time. It is Serral for NC Sports, representing Finland and Texas.
Ex-goat of the gang member. Goat and the gang member too. Go for that one, Cap. top left-hand side, I believe Zerg is Reynor.
Both players going for a 16 hatch opening here. Expect them to drone up to 18 and then go for a gas pool. Subsequently, you want to rally the drones that you are hatching, or you want to rally the eggs that you're hatching the drones from to be as efficient as possible, but that's as complicated as this early game gets. Very, very straightforward. So there we go. Both players doing the proper. And yeah, now we are back at 16. Expect droning up. And yeah, from this point on is where things can begin to get a little bit funky, but these are pretty much the expected openings for both players on a map like this one. We see that Reynor is a little bit more, or actually both players are scouting with their second overlord towards the left to account exactly for that 12 pool with the hatchery that can be so oppressive, right? I was talking to Scarlett about that, and she felt like there's no way to come out of ahead if you don't scout it, if you don't see it. So these overlord pathings partially to account for that.
Very cool stuff. Already just, I mean, so much going on when you talk about early games, DVZ, and these two are absolutely no strangers at all. Just mixing things up, having to prep against each other, and just knowing that really anything is possible, right? I think that's the coolest thing about when you watch Reynor versus Serral, because, you know, you just, like, they're so happy to throw the crazier things out as well, because you have to be happy to throw the crazier things out, otherwise you're not going to win the series. So yeah, I love it, right? Like, you know, when you see, like, here, Reen versus Clem, it's like, well, yeah, will it get crazy? Maybe a little bit, but, like, it's usually going to be long drawn out. We might see a bit of early pressure. But because of ZVZ and how it works, you can just see absolute madness from the very early moments. And Cats, I got to say, I love it when it happens.
I absolutely love it when it happens, and it very well might. I mean, Reynor in the past, like if we take us back to two years ago or so, he was more willing to play the link-heavy styles as well with upgrades against Serral and go into things like fast lurkers. We haven't seen him try stuff like that in a while, but this map would lend itself towards circling heavy play, to Muta play and the likes, more so than roaches, which is not to say that we're not very likely, if not most likely, to still see just a roach opening on either side. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what their approach to this map is going to be and which player is going to be kind of bringing uniqueness into the series first, because I am sure it'll happen.
Yeah, I wonder if we see some mutas as well, right? Like, mutas the kind of thing, which especially on the larger maps, map with a gold base that you could try and control, maybe, you know, something you got to keep in mind as well. So a lot of
Reynor with a
possibility.
slightly fast speed there, and had already taken one Ling in the exchange. So small exchanges here. Of course, with speed, he's going to be able to run away just fine, and also gets a heads up as far as how many Lings Serral made. So Reynor already a drone ahead or two, just by virtue of making a few less Lings. And that's gotta be a nice little advantage for him in this early game. Again, when they are this closely matched, look for the tiniest of edges.
Yep, absolutely. It's oh yeah,
he hurt me. That's one melee.
Yeah, we're gonna get melee. I love it. See, it's already different. It's already getting kind of funky. So yeah, we go melee cat. What else are we expecting alongside the melee?
That is difficult to say, right? He could go into eventual lurkers or something of the sort, or Muta, but it is almost for sure that he's not gonna be gravitating back into those roaches. So he just wants to conceal this. I wouldn't mind a roach warren maybe at the front from Reynor if he wants to give Serral the impression that that is a +1 attack. But as you can see, Serral's also concealing information, so he should have no reason to believe that this can't or isn't the +1 range attack for the roaches. And yeah, I mean, that will bode well for Reynor against especially small or medium-sized roach move-outs, right? Where there isn't that surface area for the roaches to really take advantage of the Zerglings, and the Zerglings with +1 will chew through the roaches. Disadvantage, of course, against the Baneling type play, as Reynor is nearly finishing his lair, and I expect a Spire will be dropped, given the timings and the gas bank and whatnot.
Yeah, it pretty much has to be some mutas here, right? Just makes sense, goes hand in hand with the melee upgrade. And yeah, here we go. A little bit of lane pressure already. So already just trying to be the aggressor on this, as we do see Serral's Banelings not quite finishing up. There's one that finishes, though, gets a good connection, as Reynor was just playing a little greedy there, trying to get the most out of this. Serral is a moment away from having roaches. That will help out a lot. I think it's going to be reasonable defense. A handful of drones when you're ahead at this amount of workers is not an issue. So far, Serral should still be feeling okay about this. Shouldn't be feeling too problematic for the moment.
Yeah, there's the Spire for Reynor. It was a tiny bit delayed by everything that was going on, as there was explosions everywhere, and Reynor also trying to go into Serral's natural. Now, this supply difference can be a little bit deceitful, of course, as it is roaches that inflate the supply by quite a bit, and a little bit faster tech from Reynor. So it's still a very even game, as he's going to look for another run, but he's going to find it too. Two roaches to defend in the main, but Reynor's going to run straight in. There's not even a queen here to defend, so he has to be really careful, Serral does, but he manages just fine for now.
Yep, making sure not to take too much damage. As long as you don't let those legs get drone kills, then it's not too big of a deal. We'll see the Spire is moments away from finishing. We'll see Reynor onto mutas very shortly, and the question becomes how will Serral deal with his own Spires. He does lose 5 drones, so he's going to play his own Spire. Oh, you don't think so, the Spire?
Yeah, I don't love the Spire from Serral.
He's gonna play Corruptors, though. I kind of like it.
Now he has to, yeah. Now he has to play Corruptors, because he's behind. I mean, he could also cancel the Spire if he really wants to, but I mean, the Muta out for Reynor are going to give him a lot of map control, and the Spire offers him safety as well, right? So you're kind of playing from behind as far as the gas is concerned.
Yeah, but I think he was always planning to go Corruptors when he saw the Spire and figured out that it was kind of link muted from his opponents. So if you go Corruptors, obviously you're kind of looking to just hit one big timing anyway.
Did he see the Spire before now? I thought he just saw it with the Overseer.
I don't know if he saw it, but I feel like he kind of roughly knew. Like, I feel like he roughly had an idea because it was only links for so long, and this +1 melee, so yeah. I mean, let's see. Let's see how the Corruptors work, because obviously it has to be them, and we'll see if it makes something of it.
Yeah, I mean, they can also get outmaneuvered, right? So I think you're right. It has to be a one-punch type army with Roach Corruptor here. Is Reynor going to be able to manage? Because otherwise, Serral's going to be bleeding out from this Muta, right? They're going to be really oppressive. They are the fastest unit in the air, and second fastest unit really on the map to the Circlings. So Reynor has a lot of map control right now. He has cleared most of the Overlords. His vision is immaculate. So it's really up to Serral to make an attack work, basically, a single attack. 14 Corruptors on the way. And yeah, if Reynor can keep the Corruptors on the side of the map of Serral and kind of just run away from them, not take too much damage and look for openings, pick off a gas here and there, pick off a drone transferring here and there, a roach that's exposed, then that is what he's going to be looking to do. +2 melee is also a very unique choice and very different choice, but I think it might work out well. Serral would do well to add some Banelings, and we see some Circlings in production, so I think he's looking for that as well.
Yeah, a few Banes to help out would really be nice, as we have got ourselves Muta's already finding a Corruptor over here. The Corruptors all joining up and now getting rid of at least a Mutalist to begin with. I mean, it's a very... it's a very momentum-based matchup, right? So if you start losing a little bit, then it can really go the wrong way very quickly. Roaches across the map, the Lings are in trouble, and the Mutas are in trouble because the Corruptors are not far behind. So
yeah, this is
protecting roaches, and oh my god, all the Overlords as well. Easy pickings. Counterattack looks nice, but there's Queens to defend for the moment. Serral is looking good.
23 workers have fallen on the side of Serral. Of course, Reynor liable to lose all of the workers here, and the Muta are struggling to engage. Maybe he should look to cut reinforcements with them or something else, but I'm not sure how he is going to manage to defend. There isn't that many roaches on the ground, 24 links on the way, as well as some spines, and Reynor does have that extra base to work with, as well as just presence on the side of the map of Serral. And now Reynor has knockout with the Muta. He knows where the roaches are. I'm surprised that he's not going for the roaches. Now he is. Now he turns his attention towards the roaches, and these roaches are still wreaking havoc. If Reynor can kind of cut off the reinforcements here, though, it might be enough for his links to clean up the roaches eventually, and he has already taken an extra base. He's playing a wonderful game from the position that he is in, but he is lagging now, 50 supply behind, and it's not looking too good. This Muta need to continue to find reinforcements and need to continue to find damage on the other side.
Yeah, I'm just going to be seeing another hatchery going down. So Reynor's going to be on 2 hatcheries very soon if those roaches go top right. If they don't get cleaned up, the Lings come in to make a fight of it at least, and it looks like they will stop this base from going down.
That's huge.
A necessary victory for Reynor, as the Mutas again going to be in range of the Corruptors, losing multiple of them, and the Corruptors are still in range, getting shots off gases. I didn't realize you were cosplaying as a Mutalist today.
Yeah, yeah, the angling from Reynor on the retreat hasn't been ideal. A lot of the time you just want to run perpendicularly to the Corruptors, right? So that they don't get the leash, and then once you have enough space, then you start running straight. But Reynor has done a wonderful job on defense here with these spines. Otherwise, he's still kind of competitive, in fact, ahead in workers, and now to make the advantage larger, here are the Muta on the other side. Where is Serral's Corruptors? They are just now backing away to try to contend with this Muta. This bodes well for Reynor. Do not listen to the supply as it lies for the time being. This is really, really good. And yeah, while real estate looks good for Serral, the economy has been ravaged. So they will have very, very similar amounts to work with here moving forward into the game.
Yeah, it's really a question of just how good can mutas be in these scrappy situations. And honestly, that's some of the best of this, though, chasing down those drones before we get rid of the hatchery in the top right. That is super low. Corruptors find the mutas, and once again, the mutas are going to be in an awkward spot and getting cornered in. They get close to the Corruptors, and the mutas just cannot get away. Queens are here as well, and the first count is fallen. Reynor, there is just no way he has what he needs here. Serral is able to pick up game number 1, able to take the first map, the Roach Corruptor.
Yeah, wonderful job from Serral there, exploiting every angle that Reynor gave him to run away from those Muta. The Corruptors are only slightly slower these days, and that's gonna make it so that Serral found a lot of really good engagements where he was trading for free. And you do not want to turn around against those Corruptors with the Muta, right? Like, they have the natural armor, the bouncing doesn't do nearly as well, and really they can trade gas for gas really, really efficiently against the Muta in straight up fights.
Yeah, no, it was just well done from Serral. Hits the timing. Just felt like Reynor never really got a chance to use the mutas, right? They never really found a way in well enough. And when they did, it was only at the cost of, the few times they were across the map, and it's like, oh, well, Serral's Corruptors are completely out of position. Serral had a load of roaches that weren't really being dealt with. So they were at least finding very good value as well. So yeah, definitely a very cool little interaction, very cool game. And the fun thing, I think, for this Serral is that got to deter Reynor a little bit from playing mutas in the future. And that's one of the things that Serral has definitely struggled against Reynor recently, right? Or in the past. So
yeah,
it's definitely one of those that all kind of it's kind of more than the 1-0 lead. It feels like a bit of a mental victory too. So I like that a lot for Serral, but every one of these games is likely to be so different. Let's find out what happens on game 2 as we go into a very different map, inside and out, already going to be coming in. And this one's going to be a bit shorter, cats. Maybe expect some hatch-based aggression.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, that is pretty cool to point to as well, like the spoken weakness of Serral towards the Muta. But let's do the introductions and then talk about that. As in the top or in the bottom left-hand side, it is for ENCE Esports, Serral.
Top right-hand side, of course, from Kaizi Gaming, Blue Zerg is Reynor.
Yeah, very, very powerful indeed. Let's see if he can bring it back. But yeah, like Serral and his weakness to Muta, like maybe a year and a half ago or something like that, right? Like there was this clip where he got hit by 2 mines consequently. And ever since then, right? Like ever since then, the standards are so high that you remember that clip and you're like, yeah, actually he's not perfect with the Muta, I guess. And in that one instance, he let it slip, but he has looked pretty strong. And yeah, I feel like it's just an excuse for him to say Muta when he complains about him. So I
just remember it. I also remember that clip of Serral using mutas and just splitting away the one with the parasitic bomb in like a split second. Yeah. That might be actually one of the craziest StarCraft clips. Like, I had to watch it on like 0.5 times speed 3 times to notice what even happened. Like, it was... Yeah,
it's insane. In that type of situation, you're not just recognizing which Muta gets hit by the parasitic bomb, you're looking at the angle of the Viper and which Muta it's facing preemptively, right? And to make that recognition in the time that Serral makes it, he processes screens so fast it feels.
Well, time for our next game, man. It's going to be some hatch gas pool and waiting to see where the excitement is going to take us this time, right? This is one of those moments where, like I say, so much can happen. It's just like from one game to the next, and now this map definitely encourages aggression. Maybe like a Carapace Roach Ling timing could be on the table here as well. And let's see if you can kind of get past that. This is the sort of map which is hard to then do stuff like mutas on, etc. So you might just get that drawn-out Roach Ravager game, which is also fantastic when you get to watch these two go at that. That Katowice Grand Finals this year on curious minds. That Roach Ravager that turned into Lurker game was absolutely wild as well, so...
It is so much chaos that is born from the order and just the structure that these players put into their game when it comes to those type of situations. If we go there's going to be overlords everywhere patrolling, and the minimap is going to be confusing to look at for anyone, and they're going to have full vision, and then the mind games begin, and the attention spreads. And it's kind of relevant that we mentioned how good Serral was at processing information on screens, because you really have to be looking in a sea of chaos for the important details when that happens against an evenly matched opponent. And I mean, these two match as evenly as you can get them.
Yeah, they really do. There's a couple Lings of Reynor went out the fight there and got a Ling kill. Obviously, Baden has come up on both sides. They're still waiting to see the differentiation. Serral's a couple drones down. He's obviously building a couple more now, so just build an extra couple of Lings initially. That's just the back and forth that we watch for the moment. There's an Evo chamber from Reynor, and still waiting for Serral to do something other than just setting up for Ling Bane.
Yeah, and it's going to be his own Evo chamber as well, so the Ling Bane phase will not be forfeit by either player here, and then very likely, like you were pointing out, the Roaches in some way, shape, or form will make their way onto the field, as the Roach Warren now goes down for Reynor. Very short rush distance map. For anyone that's wondering what makes it a Muta map, what makes it a Roach map, it's usually has to do with the rush distances, right? And Roaches will grow as far as like their efficiency, because they are kind of slow and chunky units. So the smaller the map, the less they have to travel, and they'll be happy chaps.
Yeah, bigger the map, the more the mutas can move around it, and the less chance they die early. So that's the benefit. Is both go +1 missiles here to start us off with. Reynor's faster to the Roach Roaring. Doesn't really mean too much, because the slower Roach Run is fine, because obviously if you're the defender, you're still going to have the Roach Run in time to get Roaches out to defend if Reynor comes walking across the map at you, so not really too worried or anything right here. A couple extra Overlords popping. Reynor will crank out quite a few Roaches as Serral continues to drone. I just don't feel like Serral's doing anything so crazy that he's going to be truly in trouble from this Roach attack, if that really is what we're going to be seeing, and it's not. But back in the drones, just a few Roaches to get set up.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is that circling, they're gathering information for Serral. All the information that he's getting is your mineral line fully populated, or have you been making a little bit more units sneakily? And the information that he's gonna get is that it's a little bit of a mix. Like, he didn't really populate it as fast as he could, Reynor, I think. So yeah, but Serral has little to worry about, though. He thinks that maybe there is some sort of aggression given what his Ling has seen. He drops a spine at the third. Did he cancel it now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cancels it up as he just believes he's going to have what he needs here. As you see, these first few Roaches getting turned around. I mean, the work counts are still pretty similar. Got a good defense on this Queen. Well, he's going to give the Queen up, apparently. Now the Bane's come back around.
Wow.
Good play by Reynor. Good Lings play by
Reynor. Wow. Each one of those circles seems to have a mind of their own, really, when it's Reynor playing them. He just has so many actions to spare. He is so fast and so smart as far as like how he utilizes every single unit. So yeah, wonderful job from him. Grants him a little bit of an advantage for the time being as well. 66 workers to 62, as Serral did play a little bit of mind games with himself, like that information that he was gathering from the third with the Ling, right? Because it was to the side, and that side was the last side to saturate. I think he thought that's not enough workers. I seem to have more workers, and he put himself in a defensive position, like trying to make that spine especially, and then canceling it, making Roaches very early, and I think that has all granted Reynor just the tiniest of edges here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just the little things all adding up definitely in Reynor's favor so far. Resources lost is slightly in his favor. Now we're getting that spire up from Serral, and this is obviously one of those spires where you're going to make a few mutas and then still primarily play the Roaches, hoping that the mutas can knock down enough Overlords, create enough kind of scare in the sky, just to kind of have a bit of persistence here, have a bit of an effect, but overall you're still looking to play primarily Roaches. And we do see the Drop Lord sent up from Reynor. He has got Overlord speed, so he can utilize that to get some Roaches in the base.
Gotta move out now.
Cool.
Yeah, you gotta go now. If we look at the Roach numbers, they are in favor of Reynor, but not for much longer, as Serral is producing 11 at a time. So Reynor looks at the Spire, he says, oh my god, that is completed already, and TikTok goes the clock. He has to go for it before Roach speed is ready, before +2 kicks in, which was probably his timing otherwise. And he is going to try to get a cancel onto this base, but Serral already has Ravagers, and those are really, really good defensively. Of course, the Corrosive Bile will make it so that you have to micro against them, and whenever you're microing against the corrosive pile to avoid it, it means that you are not outputting damage. So Reynor at least has bought himself enough time to where Serral, in order to stay alive, has to spend his bank into roaches, and the Muta are delayed as a byproduct. So now Reynor has time to get Hydras out and kind of stabilize. So that move out was not for nothing. It accomplished what it needed to accomplish.
Yeah, slow the meters down a lot. At this point, Serral 5-6 meters, I really don't want to see many more than that, right? Because there's a lot of Hydras on the way. Get a few, clean up some Overlords, but make it so you're still playing kind of Roach Ravager versus Roach Hydra, because at least then you have the Corrosive Biles in your favor. Ravagers and Hydras fill very similar roles in the sense of they're higher DPS units that are kind of a bit flimsier, so they need the Roaches in front so they don't just die. But the Ravagers are better because in a Roach fight, the Ravagers can Corrosive Bile, and they can force units to move back and dodge away, and so you gain kind of attacking time your opponent loses out on if they're playing Hydras. So I like it for Serral if he can take those sort of fights and just not go overboard on the Mutas. Let's see, obviously with the Hydra's out, it does potentially lead you eventually into Lurkers as Reynor. That could be fun. He's also going to be playing the Burrow Roach setup as well, so really looking to be the aggressor all around.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it any better myself, as now Reynor is trying to poke up this ramp and see what he can accomplish. A little bit of army gets segmented off to the side, and Serral will actually mirror that in turn, and he has plenty there, but Reynor has gained a really strong position here forward with the Roach Hydra, and this is very difficult to dislodge. There's not very many Ravagers, and yeah, Ravagers, probably in most situations you prefer them over Hydras, but when the army is spread like this, then the Corrosive Piles will actually serve less of a purpose, be less of a threat, and Reynor is taking wonderful trades here as Serral tries to breach back to defend his own third try at the triangle. So Reynor looking fantastic here in this attack. Serral still reinforcing and getting Baning speed as well in the process to try to contend with those Hydras. And then if he can do that, then the Muta will actually be able to contribute as well in these engagements, which will be really nice to kind of force the engagements to not go longer and to end suddenly on if you're Reynor, because otherwise the Muta will just, you know, do a little bit of damage over time, like you can see exactly here.
Yeah, that's nice to just nice fight in general. As let me just kind of get involved with the Hydra there. It's just nice fight from Reynor, splits off some units. Serral definitely struggling because of it, and then Serral was okay on supply, but so much of it was in reproduction, right? So really got caught a little bit there and took a while to clean up, and then he loses workers. That means that Reynor is now mining more than Serral, but as Serral maxes, he'll have more standing army. The problem is that's offset a little bit by the fact he still has the Mutalisks, right? So yeah, a couple of different interesting ways to look at this as we're going to be having a fight in a moment. A few Roaches across the map from Serral, probably not going to do much now as he's trying to stop these Roaches from burrowing through. He is going to jump on this army on the left side a little bit though. So Serral trying to take some control of this game, even though Reynor is the one who has all of the tools to make it kind of chaotic.
Yeah, Reynor is going for that +3 very fast as well. And he's been consistent with what I was mentioning as well, as far as like the Ravager versus Hydra dynamic, right? The Hydras want to be fanned out. If they are fanned out, their DPS is fantastic if you remove the Bile from the equation, right? So he breaks all of the rocks. 2 of the rocks have been breaking here so that Reynor can take a more open engage. That said, there's not that many Hydras and a couple of them are at the front, so he has to be really careful still. I would love what you pointed out, because one of the main advantages of the Hydras is the transition, the easy transition onto the Lurkers, which are extremely powerful units in this matchup. So Reynor does have that option, especially already having the Hive, but he hasn't chosen to go into it just yet. Baning's now crashing on through his extremely cost-efficient units, or supply-efficient units, I should say, so they are gonna be the tool that Serral uses to break through here, and he will take a very strong engagement at his third.
A couple of Roaches, Burrow trying to slip on by. Serral's dealing with it. He's defending as well. He just needs a detection also to deal with these couple of Roaches. Serral was still on top of them for the most part, just trying to make the most of it. Wow, he's just all over everything Reynor is trying to do. And yeah, I mean, obviously getting 24 Balins up and having, like, you know, an army supply lead, that is terrifying because your army is so powerful in that moment. And he really made the most of it. You can see Reynor now is just going to go more so back into Ravages of his own. But he's also getting that Lurker Den. It's just a while away from really being effective.
Yeah, as Reynor continues to try to do the Burrow Roach harass here, but Serral has gained a really strong position up this ramp, and we were talking about chokes and Ravagers. This is the position that Serral will want to hold, and we see how strong and oppressive the Corrosive Biles can be over there. So that base is gone, and Reynor's not going to have anything to say on the matter, and now Serral looking pretty strong, but Reynor's still maxed, so it still comes down to the engagement. Like you mentioned, a few more workers for Reynor, offer him longevity on the economic front, but a little bit less army supply to work with, as now he's gonna get a nice fan-out fight here, but Serral does have a little bit more Ravagers to work with. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Serral goes down this choke, but he knows better than anyone in the world, and he is pushing the issue. However, Reynor, his match is going to be ready to absorb, and with a better concave, he will deflect the Finnish Phenom.
Oh, absolute just madness, right? I mean, there's the beauty of ZVZ between these two. The games are awesome. It's action-packed. Obviously, Reynor is now getting a pretty major upgrade lead in play as well, which is going to help him in the straight-up fights. And Serral definitely felt like he had maybe the momentum and to kind of go and, the chance to end the game. But I guess Reynor's being set up to kind of play the long game better because of the upgrades that were coming in. Obviously, the lurk then up an opportunity to go into that if he feels like it. And he's going to keep the aggression going right now.
Too. Yeah, I think Reynor should turn around and kill the army that is in the pocket right now, but he is just playing at 100 miles per hour. Now turns his attention to it, but forfeits the army instead at the front. So not paying perfect attention there. Those Ravagers are a little bit exposed. So Reynor will recognize that there's not enough buffer for them. They are very expensive units. He will chase with some of his army while the rest of it works on the hatchery and secures that victory for himself. Puts Serral down to 3 bases to the 4 of Reynor, who also has 8 additional workers to work with throughout this entire altercation, and Reynor has not slowed down. There is no lurkers because Reynor is just playing at 100 miles per hour with the roaches.
Serral's going to catch these units retreating though, so that is something that can swing the numbers in his favor for a little while and maybe give him some momentum continuing across the map, but it just doesn't kill enough for that really to be effective. And obviously with the burrow, we start to regen those roaches. Viper's on the way out from Reynor, and he's just ended up on a way better army. Serral's timing was kind of with that kind of part of the game where he had like all those banelings. That was his timing. That was where he was way stronger. When that passed by, all of Reynor's investment into the future finally came to fruition, and that is now being shown now. With Vipers out, this feels like an impossible task for Serral, as Reynor sits ahead in army, workers, tech, upgrades, you just name it, and Reynor has it.
Yeah, and that is the brilliant part too. He bypasses the lurkers but goes straight into the Vipers, which are the counter to lurkers, especially in small numbers, and that is all that Serral can afford in a game as scrappy as this one, right? So really, really well done for Reynor. For me, the turning point was Serral going down that ramp. I don't think he needed that. He had the third base that he went for, as these Ravagers are still very scary with a lot of buffer here at the front for Serral. The lurkers are going to be fantastic for Reynor, and the Blinding Cloud is going to help as well. So he will be able to hold for the time being. But Serral still with a strong position in the back here, looking to siege and kill this base. Really important for Serral to do that. But the roach numbers are thinning at the front, so he just has to hold position. Now Reynor has enough. He's going to push on forward and take this game. Serral, GG's.
Absolutely fantastic ZVZ cats. I mean, this is why these two are so fun to watch. It's just non-stop action. It's really awesome. It's close. Little moments change everything, and it's just so technical, man. Every single move is just so well thought out.
It really is.
Yeah, it's just awesome, right?
Yeah, it's really a treat to commentate, right? Because everything seems to have so much meaning. Like, it's really like everything that they're doing is, like you're saying, for a purpose, and they're doing so much of it. So, it's not like you have to wait and look for really like gems in a game and highlight them. Every move that these two make is just, a treat. So wonderful game there from Reynor. And I like the pacing as well, right? Like we were saying, like, the Hydras can lead to lurkers, and he eventually goes for them. But his game plan, I think, is recognizing his advantage over Serral, which is he is the faster player, right? Like, not by a lot, and Serral's not slow by any means. Serral is fast, okay? Really freaking fast. So this is not a slight at him. It's saying that Reynor might be the fastest player on Earth, and he knows it. So, yeah, beautifully done by him.
It's fantastic stuff. Can't wait for more. We'll get Play Day to see next. It's 1-1. We're guaranteed at least 4 maps because it's 1-1 as well. So that's obviously good news. And we're getting this ready to go. Cats, we're diving straight on in. These two do not need a break. They're continuing through this series as fast as they're playing the game. So let's see what is going to happen.
The only thing that we could do to highlight just how fast they are and really exalt the beauty and extract it out of this game would be maybe one of those beautiful split screens that we know everyone loves.
That's trying to make enemies around the Twitch chat right now. As in the bottom left-hand side, it is going to be from NC Sports, Serral.
And for Carsi Gaming, the Italian stallion, it is Reynor. I mean, this series is already 2 games in, delivers. My heart is pumping. I am super excited. And yeah, I mean, it is not for no reason. These two are just the best. They are so great to watch.
They are so great to watch, aren't they?
Yeah.
Have these two ever had a series that was actually disappointing?
I don't
Maybe like
think so.
maybe like a best of 3 that was like. I remember a couple best of 3s that ended quickly, but it was also because of like cool mind games and cool builds that like
Exactly.
abuse the other. So even the quick
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, because you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win with a straight up like something simple against against your opponent when you're going. So they offer each other the respect that they require. So again, like when Serral did that 12 pool, like that's the first time I've ever seen it. I think it's the first time anyone other than Serral had ever seen it, right? So it's that cool. It's like the game ended suddenly, and Reynor didn't have much of a fight in that particular game to give, but it is by virtue of us seeing something that we haven't seen in 12 years of StarCraft. So yeah. I mean, if games are going to end suddenly between these two, it's going to be a treat too.
Yes, it is. Well, get ourselves set and wait for, again, just the first few moments of difference, maybe to break out. So far, it's just the same as we've been seeing in the previous games. Back to another one of the longer, larger maps. So maybe something, again, a little bit less Roach focused, maybe a bit more Ling Bane focused, and just stay on those Lings for a while. Will be a possibility here. Those are some options that are up in the air as we have this game 3 starting out with Ling Speed at peace.
For sure. So we'll see what deviations they offer us later on, but for the time being, exact same, even on the consequent 2 Lings here, right? So here is where, if it's anyone else playing the CVC, it seems to me like it could be 2, it could be 4. Some players make 6 to contest the 3rd, etc. But these 2 make 2 and then 2, and they have purpose for them. The first 2 move across the map. The next 2 go to defend the first 2 that they expect their opponent will be moving across the map, right? So it's just a meta within a meta, and you have to really, be able to I guess be matched evenly again against your opponent in order to really follow through and put yourself to the test in these altercations, as we see both players have been trying to get the better edges there of the Ling battles. And Reynor, I think in both games, took a Ling first blood.
It's like Serral versus Reynor meta rather than CVC meta, right? It's, yeah, very fun. It's like when we talked about Jdong versus back in the day, JVZ.
JVC.
Like a whole different matchup.
Yeah. Strangely enough, the Ling pokes, whenever Ling micro happens in the root house with Betrayos and other Cirque players, we would call it Jdonging. Like, so if you win the little, 2v2 of the Lings or the 4v4s, you Jdonged the other person.
I love it. That's fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, Evo Chambers again, and so far, I mean, we wait for these Evo Chambers, then we can know a little bit about what the plan is, of course, what the upgrade is going to be. Reynor just sitting a few drones ahead, just being a little greedy here, so maybe a bit more cautious. Darts in with 2 Lings to try and pick up information, check there's no fast lag going on, anything he should know about.
I mean, they're mirrored down to the position of the Wolof, by the way. Like, this wall of positioning, like, I am not sure I completely understand it, right? Like, it's like you can put a queen, I guess, to the left, and then you can wall off if necessary in the middle. Now, why the opening in the left? Okay, I guess I do understand it. It is for the faster transfer, probably, from the natural to the 3rd. So just being as efficient as possible, even with the wall-offs.
That's actually nutty, right? And just reinforcements, right, coming out as well. They just have the streamlined route to the 3rd, more like out onto the map. Yeah, that's just the whole things. Just speed up units moving from the main base and stuff. It's really cute.
Yeah, the smallest things. And we have a little bit of a faster lair here on the side of Reynor. So probably just cutting a Baneling or 2 or something of the sorts early enough that he gained that advantage, or maybe just Serral thinking that he doesn't need that fast of a lair. But that will grant him at least a faster overs here to see what Serral is up to, and only to find out that Serral is up to exactly the same shenanigans that he is. So not much information to be gathered, but we can trust these players will gather as much as there is.
Yeah,
Spire.
You know what? Yep, there is Spire.
At the front.
Yeah.
Is this the best spot or the worst spot? I think it's the best spot.
The best spot ever. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Serral, if you anticipate, this is a Spire that's anticipating that's, and both actually with similar spots too, right? I think I like Reynor's better because if Serral comes in from the main and goes into the natural, he will go in the back of the natural, right? So there's a good opportunity for Reynor to deny that.
Yeah, I actually do agree. It's a very minute difference, but it is one that could be notable depending on how the flight patterns of Overlords and Scouting and just Lings running in work potentially as you get ready to defend a fourth base here. Quite a few Lings of Reynor looking to hit the front, and he has got a bit ahead in supply, a bit ahead of money in the bank. Just in general, that worker lead seems to have gone a decent way for him. Serral has started +2 missiles though, so that's one way he'll be taking the lead himself. Yeah, going to be fun to see Spire versus Spire here again, in just such a different context to what we've seen it in before.
Yeah, this Spire is gonna potentially come into play, but actually, Serral is gonna go straight into the heart of the hatchery rather than going behind the minerals, as he does have Overlord speed, right? If you don't have Overlord speed, you kind of have to choose a location to go there, because you know your Overlord's gonna die. It has a little bit of a leash there, so Serral having Overlord speed will be able to scout everything. And I believe a Reynor should have the same amount of information. No, not yet. Actually, surprisingly so to some degree. He hasn't more of that Overlord to confirm that it is Muta on his opponent's side. And that could get a little bit dicey.
Yep, so just going Carapace, getting the Mutas started, and Reynor is just kind of building roaches.
Yeah, this is bad for Reynor, right? Because he's going to concede air control. The Muta are going to be stronger on the side of Serral.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because Serral's just going to have more. He's going to have the upgrade. And yeah, he's going to absolutely be able to make the most of this. And Reynor's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go back into roaches now. It's fine. I mean, there's only a few of them. Like we saw last game, we're even going to intercept a little bit.
Oh, the Overseer actually stops up the... Oh my god, that Overseer was unintended, I'm sure. And a little bit of a mistake from Serral there with the attack. As he moves, will gain Reynor enough room to escape with all of his Muta.
I mean, come on, man. Like, that's just kind of crazy. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, you can see Reynor just doubling down on Mutas himself now and realizing this is going to be Muta versus Muta with a little bit of roach that you've already kind of built. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting back and forth as now as Reynor catches up on Muta, Serral's been building a ton of roaches. And yeah, I guess obviously Serral just having these sooner is so better. Look at this, getting rid of so many Overlords. That Spore probably could have gone down, but he sees another Overlord he wants and just keeps on supply blocking Reynor as long as possible, seeming to be planned for now.
Yeah, and he takes complete map control with that as well, so Serral can be out on the map still. The Muta are still dominant over there, and yeah, it all comes down really to the small detail of the scouting timing and the choice of Serral to get that Overlord speed and just, you know, sacrifice an Overseer, just double check. Reynor, I think, trusted Serral to be doing something similar, maybe misjudged the amount of roaches or something of the sorts, to where he thought, okay, you're not going Muta, or if you're going Muta, I should have a small lead. But Serral identifies the Spire and he says, you know, I can make more Muta than you right now, especially because you don't know I have a Spire, so you may not overcommit. So as long as I overcommit, it should be about even or in my favor, and it is the right assessment to make here. Reynor on the back foot, just on the back of that, just from conceding map control.
Yep, conceding map control, it's a huge thing in the matchup, and you see him trying to tech up Infestation Pet, Lurker Den, right? So trying to give himself some options. Serral trying to find a way in. His Mutas are not able to fight because he's a bit afraid of the defensive advantage, perhaps a Queen, maybe a Spore that got in range. Yeah, not going to be the most brilliant of fights here for Serral. He will find a way up to the main, but there's so many Spores here. I can't imagine he finds much out of this. He's going to try and find a gas, but then, yeah, just very kind of inefficient damage, it feels like. Just not really getting too much out of all this. He's getting a Queen now.
Oh,
he's going to dive the Spore. He's so aggressive still with these Mutas. I'm kind of shocked, no?
Yeah, it is shocking, but I think he sees the Hydras, and that is further gas investment from Reynor, so that gives him a little bit more confidence, right? Because the Hydra then costs, the Hydra upgrades cost, and you only have 3 Hydras that are from which all of that gas cost is spread amongst. So you should have enough Muta to kind of press the issue. And yeah, Serral is just very good and decisive at that. But on the other side, Reynor is looking to sacrifice his Muta perhaps for some economic damage. But sacrificed they should be. Serral not angling towards them as good as he could have, though. Now a little bit better of an angling there to try to cut him off. But I think Reynor is out of there.
Yeah, these Mutas get away. They buy some time. The Infestors coming out, and that's something Serral now needs to be very careful of. You don't want to give up these Mutas to a couple of good bungles. As we come in, we start targeting down some Hydras. The Roaches doing what they can before they get forced back, and now we do see a lot of Mutas of Serral on top of these Mutas from Reynor. The Infestors will not have energy straight away, but the Spore Crawler wall is pretty substantial, and obviously makes it very difficult to get through here right from the beginning.
Yeah, Serral has taken a 5th with his map control, so that is the advantage that he got from that. But Reynor has actually been very quick and steady towards the transition, as Serral now drops his own infestation pit. But Reynor already with very strong pieces out on the map, and these Muta are going to start losing value. Serral knows it, so he wants to find some value. He wants to find and fight the Mutas of Reynor, because once those Fungals start coming into play, once the Vipers start coming into play, oh, that's a beautiful Fungal! And all of Muta are going to get Fungal. That is massive! All of them are going to go down. Serral in a little bit of trouble now, and let's see if Reynor is going to look to exploit it. At the very least, we should see a 5th going down very fast, and Reynor already on the other side of the map. He didn't need the Muta for that cleanup, and that means he's going to trade his own Muta for much more economical damage in the shape of just 5 drones. I guess not that much more. But yeah, I mean, great moment here from Reynor, and he gets the confidence to move out on the map too.
I mean, that's just Serral's advantage disappeared, right? His advantage was in the Mutalisk, and now the tech is already there from Reynor. He already invested into the Lurkers, so he can already make use of them. And Serral has to deal with them being on top of his base. He loses the 5th, and, well, does he have the numbers to hold on from here? The problem is he's just got roaches. These Lurkers cause such an issue.
Yeah, I mean, those corrosive bounce onto the Lurker as soon as it started burrowing, if not before, just predicting where the Lurker kind of stopped to start burrowing, because otherwise you're not going to hit one of Reynor's Lurkers, right? If it started burrowing already, it will have the time to reposition, but Serral, just a little bit of a beast. It's a similar type of move that you were describing earlier with the Viper and splitting as fast as possible. Serral is now trying to take an engagement. He does have a lot of units. He does have a beautiful concave, but he is going up against Lurkers. They are very oppressive units indeed, and they are trying to shred through Serral, but is he going to be able to? Reynor not looking like... Oh, I thought Serral was going to maybe hold there, actually.
It was looking like he was breaking through, but I think he realized he was just losing way too much in the first.
He was pretty far behind regardless, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I mean...
Those investors were kind of forfeit too, though. No energy left on those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Reynor with a beautiful just catch onto the Muta. He was pretty far ahead, to say the least, in that game after that. And yeah, beautiful job to close it out, identifying right away that he could move on out on the map. And having the Muta already out on the map when he catches Serral's Muta on his side was also really cool, right? It just puts so much pressure on Serral on every front.
Yeah, no, I mean, the just massive mistake from Serral, right? At the end of the day, just you can't get your Mutas caught like that. He knew Infestors were out on the map as well, and he knew when they were out as well, so it's not like it was like, oh yeah, I wasn't expecting. Like, you gotta be expecting the fungal growth, and then you get caught. You lose so many Mutas, and that was your advantage. Like, Reynor had invested into the tech. He played to get into the higher tech army. The point is that higher tech army can't get across the map, so Reynor just says, I'll sit at home and defend. The moment the Mutas go down, he gets across the map, and then Serral is just not set up at all to be able to deal with that. So, yeah, a big mistake from Serral, quite frankly, and one I was kind of surprised to see, kind of shocked that happened. And now Serral is down a map, and Reynor was looking good.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit deep onto like ground terrain, right? Because if he is poking and prodding from the edges, you can get fungled and you might lose a handful of Muta, but he did want to trade those Muta at some point because it's only going to get worse for them at that stage in the game, right? There's plenty of Hydras now. There's Infestors in plenty, and there's going to be Vipers soon. So if you don't get rid of them and your opponent crosses the map with less Muta and a more technical army like that, you're going to lose anyway. So Serral was just looking to trade him efficiently, but yeah, that one fungal, I mean, he didn't see it coming, and that was too big of a fungal, right? You lose 5 Muta, 10 Muta, fine if you're replacing units like consistently, but that was a little bit too much to lose all at once, and Reynor really pouncing on the opportunity. So great job from him. And spawning in the top right-hand side, and the trailing one map behind, it is Ensei's Serral.
Bottom left, our Blue Zerg player from Kaizi Gaming up 2-1, one map away from a grand finals here. It is Reynor.
What a beast. Beastly game. He was on the back foot too. It was a difficult game for him to I want to say come back into. I mean, going into Muta with less Muta in a Muta versus Muta fight is very difficult, and Serral definitely got himself map control. Reynor knew what he had to do to kind of turtle and play from behind, like concede map control, right? Like have less information to work with, yeah, able to come back on the back of that beautiful fungo.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Like, he needed to trade those Mutas out over, like, the course of 2 minutes, and then his tech would have been online as well. And instead, he traded them out in, like, 10 seconds. And, you know, then those 2 minutes...
that. Yeah,
exactly. And then the next minute 50, Reynor has all the time in the world to move across the map and, you know, go take full advantage. So, Yeah.
Exactly.
Fun
So
stuff.
maybe a little bit too deep, but understandable. Like, it's just his mistake, I guess, if you could call it that, was exploited as hard as it could have possibly been exploited. It's chain fungals as well. I mean, you need every infestor there. You need, enough of a Hydra backbone. Like, there's a lot of things. It was a perfect storm for Reynor, basically, or a perfect fungal, I guess. Yeah.
Perfect storm in the form of green goop rain from below. Well, we get link speed started a little bit quicker here from Reynor. He's a bit faster to the gas this game. Usually they've been very in sync with their opening builds, so this time Reynor just a very slight lead, and obviously up a map, like I say, for him. I mean, this is actually kind of a big thing as well, though, because Serral is, not won this event as many times as we'd expect him to. In fact, he's won it the least out of Reynor and Clem, right? So it's kind of crazy to me, Serral has been playing great lately. If he still can't just kind of deliver and win this again, man, and obviously you're not like impossible to win, but if you lose this, you're going to go through a lower bracket finals against potentially Clem or Showtime, both tough matches. And then you start 1-0 down in a grand final. Like, man, that is rough, like against someone like Reynor. So yeah, it's kind of a huge series, this one. I mean, we know that.
It is massive. Yeah. I mean, Serral did defeat Clem in their previous altercation, but we know that, Clem gets a huge buff from this tournament, and he is, extremely capable. We just saw him in the match against Hero Marine as well, and he is playing some fantastic StarCraft. No one, not Reynor nor Serral, wants to test themselves against Clem to, see even if they're favored, to see if they will make it to the finals. So, and Showtime has also been putting up great fights against Serral as of late. So it's definitely not a done deal for Serral. They want to win this one as badly as you could hope for. And now it's going to be Reynor on the offense here, as he's going to throw his first few links onto the hatchery. A couple of links are forced to be dealt with as they run into the natural expansion. This is a move that, quite frankly, very few players in the world can really do effectively, because you have to pay attention to both. When it even splits a link to full Serral, and outpacing him on that front will grant himself a ling or a drone or so, whilst still harassing at the third. This guy is just an animal.
Yeah, I mean, kind of crazy, right? That's
He's the fastest unit in the game, right? It's like, you couldn't go faster.
Yeah, the fastest unit controlled by the fastest player. It's just ridiculous, all the stuff that's going on, and just impressive, man. Just genuinely impressive. Fun stuff to be seen so far. And Rotron popping up here from Serral, so he is looking to get into Roaches quickly this game. He's got a ton of gas ready, so
my God.
Let's see if he can make use of it. The Queen will survive, and so far, I feel like Reynor's not quite figuring out what's going on.
Yeah, that is true also. For all the links that he has been running in, I don't think he has completely figured this out. He's still making circlings, but the Roaches could be really deadly. And we'll see if he is able to withhold here. Banelings also being made on the side of Serral. That's going to help. Oh, no. Reynor is going for a Baneling bust. And I mean, props to him. He has been doing a little bit of damage here and there and trading effectively against the links of his opponent. But Roaches are the last unit that he wants to see here.
Yeah, the only good thing is these Roaches are moving out, and there's a lot of lings. Maybe there's potential for a wraparound or so. Yeah, he's not really going to find it yet. He's going to go for the run by, but Serral seemingly has it under control, chasing it down with lings and a couple baits of his own.
Just like you were saying, though.
Okay.
Those Banelings will connect very nicely, but here comes the Banelings of Serral. They're a little bit late to the party. And there is not enough gas to morph them all into Ravagers. Only one gas is what Serral is working with. That means those 2 or 3 very injured Roaches are quick to fold even to the attack of Queens. So, yeah, I mean, I would say you got to be careful with them, but you also got to attack with them. So, yeah, they're going to die. They're going to output the damage that they can output. And here comes Serral with the brunt of his army. He has a lot of beautiful biles onto the Banelings. They were perfect, and they will catch most of it. And Serral looks to be closing the gap here with a cheeky map 4 win. Beautifully, beautifully done from the Finn.
I love that both of them decided to change it up on the same map as each other, and obviously it kind of just goes Serral's way. Roaches against Ling Bane, basically, and yeah, goes well for him. Couple of cool Banes. I love the biles on the Banes as well. He's like, well, if I can just keep my Lings alive a little longer, they're just going to tank for me. What else can you bile that's guaranteed to go down there? Well, pretty much only the Banelings that's stuck morphing, so yeah, just cool little identification. And man, Reynor was so close, like 1 or 2 more Banes, he blows up the Roaches in the middle, and maybe that just takes away the punch of Serral's attacks so that he can get his own Roaches out in good numbers. Still very close. Obviously, a little bit unfortunate for Reynor. It means that we are going to Game 5 for the first time today.
Yeah, that is so exciting. I mean, yeah, between these two, of all things, and usually, in my experience, game fives between these two, they will often go to that macro game. They will often go to that. Let's see everything. That let's not lose to anything silly type of game. So yeah, it's gonna be Stargazers as well. I love it. It is a very fun map indeed, and that also lends itself to some interesting strategies with the base in the back as well.
For ZVZ, man, this is like a map I just so rarely see. I mean, you so rarely see it. ZVZ honestly isn't a matchup we see a lot of the time, and especially not in like longer matches like this one where Stargazers comes out, right? So there's a lot of unknowns on this map. There's a lot of question marks, and if I had to make a prediction of what we're going to see, I actually probably couldn't, because it is just not a map I really think about for ZVZ. I'm like, have I seen Zerg take the in base? And it's like, no, not really. Like, I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've casted ZVZ on this map, because it just isn't popular.
It just isn't very popular, but yeah, I mean, the in-base can be really nice for like roach attacks too, right? Because you kind of get a third secured by default, which is really nice for that sort of strategy. But let's see what these players choose to do. As in the top right-hand side of the map for ENCE Esports, it is the GOAT looking to bring himself to the grand final. Serral.
You know, this guy wants it as well, though. In the top left-hand side, in the blue, it is Reynor.
We all predicted a 3-2. The chat predicted a 3-2.
Yeah.
The gods have granted us a 3-2.
3-2.
It's just an issue of who gets it.
Fine. If you all want it so bad.
Yeah. That's the belief. Carrying on through here. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like that in-base hatch is really cool because it can serve for mind games, but for the most part, these players will be scouting it and spotting it probably with an Overlord at some point in the early to mid game. And yeah, it's cool because you usually need units to take your third, especially when you go for like Evo chambers at the front and going to roach timings and the likes. You need to eventually make units a little bit earlier than you would otherwise like, just to move out and have enough to take your third. In this particular map, you can kind of get away with a little bit of a greedier approach by mining those minerals a little bit earlier if that's what you want to do. And then you can, be greedier at lower risk than on most maps. So we'll see if either of the players takes that sort of route.
Yeah, there's so much potential, so much fun that can happen here. Yeah, it almost seems fitting for two players that give us such crazy kind of wild games on their own accord. Now you get to add this map into that as well. Very exciting.
Very exciting indeed, as both players are going to path through the middle of the map to make sure that there's no sneakiness going on there. Beautiful pathing from Reynor and Serral. You can see that the Overlord pathing covers the little star on the low ground in case they actually deviated that far off, right, to try and sneak across. So that's a beautiful move there from both of them.
Yeah, just the little things right again. All the little touches they put into their gameplay. Very, very fun to see as Overlords move out, Lings get set. This game just starting to get the gears of whirring. You take the third hatch down the left side here as Reynor, and Serral will match him in that.
Yeah, so very likely to go into that Ling Bane phase then. Neither player looking to utilize, their defensive posture with the backward space, which also does give away map control, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't mind this one bit, and we'll see what players are going to choose to do from here on out. It's probably just going to be kind of the same openings that we have been seeing up until the next minute or so, and then we'll start seeing the real deviations.
No link speed though. No link speed for Reynor, right? So he does go Baneling Nest, which makes me feel like, he wants to just make sure he's got a few Banes to defend, but just kind of being kind of late on that gas, and that is something to know. Maybe Serral will have an opportunity. Like I said, the Baneling Nest should, in theory, give you a defense against Lings, but just without speed defensively, it can be very tough. So we'll see if Serral pushes that issue at all. He is making a few more Lings right now. See what he can do if he gets across the map.
Listen, if the shoe's on the other foot, I would trust Reynor to punish Serral and to actually just make him run around and, outmaneuver. But given that it is Serral that has to take that choice, he is more of the player that is more likely to be like, I'm going to be better later on. I'm going to make better decisions throughout the game. I don't need to risk it right now. I don't need to, test myself against you on speed fronts. So he might just let it go. But Indeed, it is a little bit of an advantage for Reynor, who is going straight into that +1 for the roaches. Roach Warren now goes down, and I would expect a second Evo Chamber to come eventually to go into 2-1 a little bit quicker, as he hasn't started yet his lair. So the timing will line out nicely for Reynor if he wants to go into a 2-1 timing with roaches.
Yeah, Serral's led that little bit earlier here as the slowling scouts around, and yeah, Serral invests into the gas. Once again, it's just those little corners being cut here and there, and Serral just goes across the map, and yeah, we'll see.
But he has so little, right? Yeah, I mean, he has so little, so few Zerglings to really try to punish here. But yeah, that slowling was like, hey, I'm a slowling, and Serral's like, oh crap, I should have been out on the map, right? Like, there's no reason for me to be back here with these very fast lings. I have map control. You conceded.
I think he just Nidus all in here, right? Just drop a Nidus off the lair and just go. As Serral, because otherwise. Yeah, because otherwise Serral's just too far behind on workers. You know, he'll know this as well. Reynor's playing a bit greedy. Maybe he has roaches of his own.
There it is.
Yeah,
Wardicchio with the beautiful call there, as we have the Nidus going up for Serral, who already invested a lot into those roaches. I love it. And there is a lot of space as well to drop the Nidus, given that back base as well, right? So Serral not going to let this fly. Not going to play a game from super far behind against Reynor. And he is definitely going to be looking for some damage here. So let's see what Reynor can do. As Reynor, I imagine, has his Overlord tagged to Serral's in his 4th base expansion, so he knows that this is a possibility to some degree. Spire is greedy.
Oh man, he just has no idea what's going on. The thing is, the roaches, the lings, they're slow. They're terrible against the Nidus, so they can't even get in position quickly. Like, even if he reacts though, like, how does he get there in time?
He can't. And now this is going to be Serral going so quickly out of this Nidus here. He will have Roach Speed as well, I believe. The Queens are here as well. The Overlord will provide a little bit of an extra pathway there for the Queens. Just beautifully done as it continues to go faster and in between to make sure that the rest of the reinforcements are going to arrive as fast as possible. So now Reynor with units coming out, but one of his Queens is actually blocking for his Roach Ravager coming from the ramp. This is a very difficult engagement to take from Reynor. He's doing everything that he can. I don't know if he should have pulled the drones back into the mineral line. I feel like he needs everything. The spine is coming up. Serral wants to focus it, but Reynor's going to apply some pressure to make sure that he turns his head and his attention onto the roaches. Where are the reinforcements from Serral? They're not as fast as I expected them to be. They are in the 3rd indeed, Wardicchio, and that is a little bit of extra damage here from Serral, who's now just going to be able to relocate to the 3rd very quickly via Nidus. Reynor not with Roach Speed even ready yet, so he's going to have a really difficult time to try to situate himself at defense over there. So instead, he's going to try to get the triangle 3rd established and played from behind. But Reynor, I mean, he is in a world of trouble right now.
Yeah, it almost felt good enough from Reynor. He had a +1 missile coming out of this and everything, right? Roach Speed started a little bit before Serral, but yeah, losing the hatch, having to, you know, basically work off of the other one now. A little rough, but not the end of the world, right? I mean, he still has 5
worker lead, I
didn't realize that triangle hatch was up so quickly, and now you can probably get to the Spire without issue, and I mean, credit to him, because he was on so many drones when this started as well.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like the roaches should have just reinforced into the main, because I feel like Serral could have won the fight with reinforcements. He had a very strong position as well, where you have to reinforce from 2 different bases if you're a Reynor, from the natural and the main, and that offers itself to, with Roach Speed, you can take one of the fights, right? If you're Serral, so I don't know if he needed to go to the 3rd. I feel like going to the 3rd is kind of like saying, if I kill this 3rd and you can't stop me, and he's right on that, then I will have a lead. But did he get a lead? Like, maybe that's where the underestimation comes in. Just how far behind he would have been otherwise, right? Because Reynor did cut some corners early on, and he did have a considerably better economy, and it still feels like the game is in his favor, even though that Nidus went so well, seemingly, for Serral.
Yeah, impressive from Reynor. I thought he was in so much trouble, man. He was just, like, cranking out drones, and felt like he was just so unprepared, but makes it work, and Serral now moving forward a little bit. First meters on the way from Reynor, just 3, but also extra roaches as he preps himself to defend against what is still seemingly a lot of roach reduction from Serral. Serral's own Spire on the way out, as Reynor's even going to relocate the spine to the front here and just try and make sure Serral can't push in. And Serral feigning this attempt to go across the map because he doesn't really have any intentions to attack, I don't think. It's just going to succeed in kind of slowing Reynor from building too many meters, and now maybe he can get some meters up of his own.
Yeah, but I mean, Reynor's going to be quicker to it. He holds the supply lead as well, 64 workers to 55. He's going to reveal the muta here to kill the overseer. So it's just going to go in as deep as he can to scout what he can, but I mean, it's already been scouted. It is Muta. They're still popping up. And now Reynor will attain map control with this. And Serral, I mean, yeah, I almost want to play that resume from replay and see if Reynor could hold if you just, you know, like if you just reinforce, because Serral seems to have underestimated or overestimated his own position there. And yeah, it seems like Reynor is going to take control of this game. What can Serral do?
Yeah, obviously just trying to build up meters of his own, and I guess if he keeps the fact that he's got his own meters hidden and he's like, bam, I got more than you,
bam,
then that can go very well. So here you go.
Right. Yeah, he's looking for that
moment. But Reynor's moving forward with roaches, and he has +2 to +1, and he has more. So this looks very good for Reynor on paper. He's going to get the base top bottom right as well. And Reynor is overwhelming coming in. Too many roaches. Mutas coming through too. Cross and top. Reynor to split. Can Reynor actually break through this? I mean, break through the position feels tough, but he is getting the Ravages. And yeah,
he's doing the damage also.
Dying as well.
Yeah, I mean, the drones have fallen to lengthen the advantage that Reynor had in any case. The Muta are going to go into the main, and things are falling apart for the Finnish Phenom. The Italian Stallion, however, is standing tall so far. 150 supplied to 120. Serral knows it, and Reynor is going to be happy to prove all of us doubters wrong.